Hello, all. Welcome to Hockey Tap Podcast, episode 184 of the Four Nations and the Rangers Dysfunction. I'm your host, Bill Dean.
Love it.
I'm, of course,
Love
here
it.
with my two I'm trying to get it lower. There we go, finally. Here with my two co-hosts, Little Steven Shorts Guy. Schwim is off gallivanting in the woods. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Mr. Sam Wu. I'm behind the glass, messing things up as usual.
Don't worry, Sam messes stuff up too.
Sam messes up all the time.
Plenty.
I watched some of those pods, and they are just a disaster. No, we love Sam Wu. He's the best. I actually sent Mr. Wu my Christmas card.
I'm online with him like it feels like every other day at some points in the hockey season. So I get to see it all.
Oh, easily. You see the disaster unfurling regularly.
Yeah.
Gents, what are we drinking?
I got for my bays, plural, Bay Days, Cape May.
Woo!
I like it.
Look at that.
For my two bays, sessionable sour ale. That was weird. With sea salt, lime, and cherry. I'm not sure about the cherry. Why is my phone blowing up? Oh, it's William.
It's William.
It is William.
Pairs best with a lawn chair,
Yeah.
a barbecue grill, and a pool float?
What's
I don't
it
have
look
any
like?
of those. It's a fish.
Oh.
I'm going to call it a pool float, though.
Hey, I got
Unless
plenty
you
of
have
pool floats down the shore.
You got a fish buddy. I'll drink it with my fish friend
There you go.
in Davy Jones's locker. Serving a pint glass. Not going to do that either. Okay, go on.
Speaking of friends, they did a Simpsons trivia fact, and a Simpsons trivia question. It was, what does Chief Wiggum say his cat's breath smells like?
It's not Chief Wiggum.
Yeah, that's Ralph Wiggum.
It's Ralph.
Isn't he Chief Ralph Wiggum?
No. Ralph Wiggum's his son. Chief Wiggum.
No. Sorry.
Chief Clancy Wiggum is the cop.
I meant just Chief Wiggum. Sorry.
But he never said it.
No, Ralph did.
Ralphie
Wiggum.
Oh, what does he say his cat's breath smells like?
Cat food.
Cat food.
Cat food. Yeah. I didn't know that Marge went to prom with who?
Arnie.
Arnie.
Yeah. And then he comes back later on. And he tries
There's
to
a
buy her
lot
for
of
anything.
there's a lot of past stuff that's come up in the newer episodes that I keep seeing online. It's it took me however many years to figure out this about whatever character. And it's an episode from last season. I'm like, oh, well, of course you didn't find that out until now because they literally just said it.
Yeah. Annoying. Oh, jeez. Anyway, my beer. It is that time of year again.
It is.
I have currently on tap Sierra Nevada Celebration out of my Simpsons Christmas glass, which I hope I don't spill anything. It's tough to see in the glare. Sierra Nevada Celebration, and I'll have another winter beer on tap by next week's episode too. So,
Mogwai.
Woo! Don't get her wet.
Life Mogwai.
Don't get her wet.
She's gonna eat after midnight.
All right.
Sierra Nevada Celebration. I had some in cans the other night. It is the best beer this time of year, as far as my opinion is concerned.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So is the yellow flashing lights.
Yellow flashing, also very good.
And that is coming on tap next.
Looks like I'm wearing a scarf, or
It does.
I don't know, one of those blanket sweatshirts.
Could be.
You look beautiful.
Either way, I'm cozy.
Cozy. I like it.
William.
Yeah, I am drinking
Taste this damn thing.
Edmonds Oast Brewing, a lovely sour apple. I had a bunch of beers that I bought when I went down to Florida, but I'll save those for you gents on Friday. But sour apple, so always good.
Edmonds Oast is top notch.
They are good. You can't beat an Edmonds Oast brew.
I feel like they're so underrated. No one really talks about them, but everything they produce is great. Every style.
Yeah. Their sours are one of the best, but
Yes.
The IPAs are always good. I've had just stouts. Pretty good stuff. All right, let's go what's up tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. Well, obviously, multiple things have happened the past 2 weeks we've been gone. I was on vacation. It was horrible. I'll fill you guys in with the details, but
you missed a
my mom
great
got
game
sick.
last Monday.
I know. That was part of the reason why I could not. We couldn't podcast on Monday, but obviously Rangers lose to the Devils. That happened
by a lot.
By a lot. It was not a good game at all.
I'll tell you what. I was so excited because I completely forgot that we were going to take the week off, but then I was really excited thinking that
I was going to do the pod. We were going to do the pod, and I just had an family issue. So
okay, but I know those are Steven's favorite nights to be podcasting with us.
Yeah, when we're not
watching the Devils play the Rangers.
Yeah, Steven doesn't want to be in the pod.
Steven talks to nobody and everybody at the same time.
and then Shrim's just not paying attention in general, just because
Shrimp never pays attention.
Yeah.
Oh man. Rangers lose. Then they essentially go into a free fall, and the GM puts out a report or a text message to all the other 31 GMs. Tells them basically the Rangers are for trade. Well, it was through the text message thing, but they called the memo. Yes. Tells them that Trouba, which if no one understood that he wasn't available before, is an idiot. That he's available, and a name that most people have not wanted to talk about or have not tried to talk about, Chris Kreider. Other people too, but those are the two guys that were specifically called out for. It then led to a lovely presser with Kreider, where he details his injuries and kind of goes through the whole thing. And Kreider obviously has been a guy that's been here for 10 plus years now, which is crazy to think. And he's a 50-goal scorer. He's in the 40s a couple times, 30s, and his name's been bandied about. But finally, they got a taker for Trouba's contract, which would be the Anaheim Ducks. They did threaten him with waivers if he did not choose, because apparently 2 offers were on the table, one by Columbus, and he rejected the Columbus offer. So that's when Drury kind of gave him the ultimatum.
This is going to change the entire CBA as far as contracts go.
So that's what
because
people have been talking about.
How can you have a no trade list and put these teams on the no trade list that you don't want to go to, but the team is still going to waive you, and you can end up on that team getting picked up by that same team?
Because it's a no trade and not no move. So that's actually what Friedman was talking about.
I know
at the CBA.
But no movement means like you can't go down to the minors.
Yeah. No
so
movement.
You can't get waived.
Can't get waived. Yeah.
Well, only if you agree to get waived is how you can.
True.
Waive.
Correct.
But it's. I don't know. I think we're going to see changes in that because.
Yeah, he was saying that there could be 15-team no-move clauses now, where you can't go to that team. Via trade or waivers. Which okay, if they want to do that, that's fine. Drury did come out and said that he's trying to make this team give it a jump and a boost, and this is one of the ways that he can do it. And I'm threatening him with waivers kind of stinks, and I kind of agree with that too. But he is doing what he thinks is best for this team, and he didn't give Trouba the contract. He didn't give Barclay Goodrow the contract. He's trying to fix a mistake. Well, what was thought to be a mistake back then, what it still is now, and he's doing any means possible. And as a Ranger fan, it sucks a little bit because you wonder if this is going to affect other players coming to the Rangers. I don't think it will, because they're just always going to be one of the teams that
New York
guys want to kind of play for. Yep.
Doesn't matter how abusive you are to their employees, people are still going to want to go. Just because it's New York.
It also helps to see that these are both the guys are aging vets that are making a lot of money. I think players understand that a little bit. But yeah, so that happens, and obviously not great overall for the Rangers, but something that they got Vakanainen, who was a first-round pick in 2018. He hasn't been overly great, so I understand he's a depth defenseman, and they got a fourth-round pick, but they got rid of all of his contract for a year and a half. Yeah, the Sweeney pick. Yep.
So take that with a grain of salt or a whole fistful.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, he got it. for them to take the entire contract, which was a big move. There were reports that Detroit was in on it as well, but they were trying to get their own player to move his no trade clause.
Sure, probably.
They didn't. That's what people think, but no names have been, bandied about. So that's another team that I guess even Trouba mentioned them in his presser that he did after he got traded from Anaheim, saying that people should go and talk to Detroit. And then you have the news with Ottawa where Brady Tkachuk's name was out there, whether people want to choose to believe it or not. I know Steven's skeptical that,
I'm not skeptical. It literally it never happened.
Yeah,
well,
it hasn't happened, and it isn't happening.
But Michael Andlauer actually had to come out and said that the Rangers were soft tampering because his name was thrown out by multiple different sources. And where there's smoke, there's fire. And if the owner is coming out saying that, while there were discussions, he's not going to be traded, like it was out there. So I think that Ottawa is going to have an issue with him anyway, long term, because they stink. And like his brother, he's going to want to win a cup. And
it's not you.
Listen,
your window's
well,
closed.
maybe.
Okay, we're speaking
closing.
hypotheticals. Like down the line, there might be something that happens, but to put this to rest, it literally was. There was never discussions between the Rangers and the Senators, and there still isn't discussions between the Rangers and Senators. It has never existed, and the only reason why it came up is because I don't know which media source is worse, Toronto or New York. They like to go back and forth as to which one likes
Toronto,
to make up the most ridiculous stuff. And it's
Toronto doesn't have Larry Brooks.
Call out your favorite beat writer, who talks about, okay, he's right that Trouba's getting scratched, probably traded. So here's some clickbait about why they're talking to Ottawa about Brady Tkachuk. That's all it is. And then of course he's like, story developing, actually he's getting traded to Anaheim. So everything that I just said and this entire article means absolutely nothing because it never happened and it never was going to happen. Like anybody can create a rumor. And I've said this time and time again. A rumor is exactly what it is. It's a rumor. It doesn't have to be true. That's basically the whole point of a rumor. Either is it true? Is it not true? Who knows? And anybody can say it at any point, and you can't prove it one way or another unless, like what just happened, the representatives from the teams come out and say, no, we literally have never spoken.
Then why would the owner, just to debate that, why would the owner come out and say the Rangers are soft tampering with Tkachuk?
Because they're creating rumors to make it to make it.
It's not the Rangers that are creating rumors. It's some stupid beat reporter.
The media.
The
media. The sports
but that's
media
not the
in New York,
Rangers, the organization.
Media, it doesn't matter. But that's not the. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not the Rangers organization that's soft tampering. You can say it because they're connected to the organization. Because I don't know what their association. I know they're beat reporters, but I don't know what their association are with the team. So you can, all it takes is one guy from the sports team media. It doesn't even have to be sports team. Spit and Chicklets shared this stupid thing, which is also just as dumb. And they shared it after. I think both Dreger and I can't remember the guy from Ottawa, the big
Ian
Canadian.
Menendez.
No, it's somebody else. Said Garrioch, I think it was. Is that how you say his name?
Well, it's Menendez too.
Well, either way, they both came out and said that there's literally no one's talking. There is no communication between the two teams. And then Spit and Chicklets decides to share it because that's all it is clickbait. It's just like everybody wants to talk about it. It's exciting, I guess. You just hypothetically think about, oh, well, I would love this player on my team. Let's try it. Let's start let's all go on the message board of whatever this stupid, article is and talk about what our
whose team's been doing that the most for Brady Tkachuk.
So
whose team's been bandied about Brady Tkachuk for about 2 years now?
I mean, I know a certain podcast that has been a certain podcast
maybe
that has been, but I also know that there is
bullshit media,
a sports city that's been saying it also around the same time, coming up with the same stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, if the Devils are talking about it, then we should talk about it because we're also in the New York, New Jersey area, so maybe.
And not for nothing, it's we have no inside sources with the New Jersey Devils, so we're not getting any of our sources from the team. But who's to say there's not someone in the higher ups of the Rangers going to Brooks going like, listen, I'm not telling you he might not be talked about. However, there is the possibility that we're not maybe possibly talking about
Yeah.
Brady
Exactly.
Kachuk. And that's all
Exactly.
it needs to be. That's all it needs to be. And it could just be Larry Brooks making stuff up. That's possible too. But it could
that's
just
very
be
possible.
someone going,
That's very possible.
it just could be someone going, hey, Larry, guess what? Brady Kachuk.
Yeah,
That's the roller coaster ride of Larry Brooks in a nutshell. Was that whole Trouba thing where he comes out? He's the first one to report Trouba scratched today, probably being traded, and everybody's like, "Oh wow!" And it came true, and it was and then it was like official. He's being scratched, so we knew it was true. And then all of a sudden, it's like it's for Brady Kachuk, and then everybody gets excited, and it's like, never mind, it's Anaheim. It's just like. Oh, man. It's just like, I don't know.
Ranger fans got excited and everyone else shook their head like that's not happening. That's just not going to happen at all. Which Larry Brooks is the beat writer for the Post, correct?
Yes.
So all that came to mind that day, where all that was coming from was him and the New York Post, was John Mulaney's bit on the New York Post. And if you've not heard it, it's absolutely hysterical about how he talks about the news. The news comes from someone who saw it, who heard it from someone else. And that's basically the epitome of the New York Post, and that's basically what Larry Brooks was doing all day that day. So
yeah, or at least for the brief period. Luckily, that whole the trade happened quickly. Yeah. So we heard he was scratched. He's potentially getting traded, and then he was like traded 2 hours later or something like that. Luckily, it didn't drag out any further because that I couldn't withstand being bombarded with more of this Brady Kachuk and Trouba's being packaged over for Brady Kachuk. And it's just like,
which is so far.
I don't think, did he say that, or did he say that they were just talking to him about trading?
Well, did you read yes, he was, it was a whole development because Trouba is available for trade, and there's talks with Brady Kachuk involving Jacob Trouba.
I mean, 1-for-1, that's a good trade, but.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, and this is why all of Rangers land believed it, because they all had that same thought. Well, it's a good trade, 1-for-1. We'll take that one.
But
no quit New York.
Yeah,
no quit.
Yeah, exactly. But Steven, you did say that no one would take.
I did
that contract without
in its entirety.
In its entirety.
As soon as it was made, though, I was like, that's okay. The guy who on purpose gave Radko Gudas a 3-year, $12 million contract agreed to take all of Gudas' contract.
There are dumb.
Okay, I didn't. I wasn't thinking about that. Okay, so.
I think there was. Right?
But Columbus was also going to do it.
Yeah,
Columbus was also going to do it.
Jury's
got to
have something on Verbeek. Jury has to have something on Verbeek to take that whole contract.
I get it. There's value. There's value in decapitation, and especially if you have the cap space. And I was just thinking along the lines that Trouba, I'm sure, has his idea of where he's going. So it's like, okay, if he's going to agree to get traded, I want to go to some team that has a chance at least it's going to make the playoffs this year, right? That was my mentality, and I'm just like, there's no way any team in a playoff position right now can afford to take on that entire contract, and they can't. But it happened to that however you want to word what went down with how Drury, you want to call it blackmail, you want to call it whatever, it worked, and they got rid of the whole salary. So I guess if you're all business, then it's a good thing. If you have any sort of pride in your team's roster and how your organization is run, it's kind of you feel dirty after it. But
yeah, how'd you guys let Taylor Hall score?
I didn't even see. What did he score?
Well, I don't know, but you're down 2-1. Max just said in the YouTube group that
I know we're down 2-1. I didn't see this.
Taylor Hall.
Oh, I'm sorry for anybody on Facebook who have not been paying attention.
Well, it's YouTube Live and Facebook.
Yeah, I'm in the YouTube chat.
Obviously, then after that, good news, if you want to consider good news to some Rangers fans, but the 8-year and $11.5 million deal comes out for Igor Shesterkin, who
there are some not happy campers about that.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. He's
the
top
highest paid
10 player in the league.
Yeah,
deserved.
I mean,
he's
not this season.
Yeah, well, he guys are having a slump.
He's a great goalie, but just not this season.
I know. Gizmo got wet.
Oh no.
Gizmo got wet. So obviously, Rangers give him the big 8-year deal. By the way, I'm gonna have my kids play baseball. Did you see the Juan Soto 15 years, $765 million per year, or $765 million total?
It just seems so unsustainable to me. Like those numbers are so unsustainable. But baseball has all kinds of outs in their contract talks, though.
Yeah,
like in their contracts, you can get out of a lot of that for nothing.
Yeah, I think they do only have it like similarly
like
to it's not all guaranteed, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 years, and it's like all of a sudden you can get out of it. It's it's different than the Bobby
he actually had
Bonilla.
that? I didn't see that.
I'm not sure if it actually had it. I didn't look at the complete details.
I thought I saw something. Granted, I don't pay much attention to baseball, but I thought I saw something about when they mentioned how much was guaranteed. I thought I saw something about that.
I think it's all 765 is guaranteed.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm no expert on. I had thought I saw something that it was much less was guaranteed, but I don't know. Don't take my word for it.
Oh, okay. All right, you're right. So 10 years after 10 seasons, he can opt out, and the Mets can void it by increasing his annual salary in the final 10 seasons by $4 million from 51 to 55. So he can actually make more money by trying to opt out on them, which he's going to do because he's, who's not going to take an extra $4 million per year.
10 years?
And
10 years from now, who the hell knows?
If he's living in New York State, he's going to be taxed at like 98% of all of that money anyway. So
it also includes a $75 million signing bonus. Jesus.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, I know so little about baseball that I don't want to say that I never heard of him, because I think I did hear of him, but I certainly didn't know he was that good.
Yeah, he's top 5 player in baseball.
The reaction of Yankee fans, though.
Yeah, there was Michael Turturro was like, holding the baseball bat, saying he was to beat his head in. Very funny.
That is. But it sounds funny.
It's that fat. Man, what is he? He's in what's the Adam Sandler Longest Yard movie where the center? He's the guy who sleeps with the fat little center.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, very funny guy.
The one who wants to play quarterback and then throws it ridiculously.
Yeah. He's sleeping with the trans man.
Yeah, with what's his name? Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan. Thank you. Very funny.
Oh, it's Tracy Morgan. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Also, all right. So back to hockey. Big trades in very rare fashion. Steven, we were talking about this. Goalies for the Colorado Avalanche both get traded within 2 weeks of each other. I think it was 2 weeks of each other. Noonan and Georgiev. They bring in Wedgwood and Blackwood. Colorado filling their locker room with a lot of wood. But they get the goalie overhaul. Yeah, and I like this for the Avs. I like Mackenzie Blackwood on this team. I think that this and they give him a second and a fifth. Second and a fifth.
He's got to stay healthy.
But Wedgwood is a really good backup.
Oh, I know.
I
agree with that as well. He's already had 2 strong appearances for them.
Yeah.
He one in relief where he won, one start where he just shut out. He got a shutout, right?
Just shut us out last night. He always plays very well against the Devils. And Wedgwood is great as a backup, and we all all of us know how well he's treated Brownie and Cam.
Yeah.
So he's a great human being on top of everything. Mm-hmm. And Mac Black, when Mac Black is on, Mac Black is unstoppable. He shut us out too, 1-0 this year. But there are times when Mac
Black single-handedly won games for the Sharks. Single-handedly won them games.
Yes, and he's also made 50+ saves and lost because the Sharks were that terrible. But there are times when Mac Black can just look so bad and make such mistakes, unless he's cured that.
Well,
but there were times with the Devils. There were times with the Devils when he made mistakes, and you're like, "What the hell were you doing?" However,
what I'm thinking with when he was on the Devils, though, like I mean,
we were a mess. We were a mess. When
they threw him. He's still young. First of all,
yeah.
And
totally.
Obviously, he was very young when he was on the Devils and on a very weak team. And I think you guys kind of threw in the towel on him a little bit too early. He went over in the Timo Meier. Did he go over in the Timo Meier trade? No, did he? Or did he go? Because he went straight to, or did he make a pit stop before he went to San Jose?
I'm trying to think now.
He's part of a trade package. I'm almost certain. But no, I was saying, remember the last podcast, Dean, I was saying that, like, I would actually like to see Blackwood on Team Canada.
Yeah.
I think he has that much potential.
He can play with good players. Yeah.
The thing is, he had injuries with us, so he never got a really good, healthy. We never got a full, good, healthy season out of him. It was always like one step forward, two steps back. He'd play very well, and then he'd have some kind of an injury. He had that mystery heel injury for the longest time. So we never got to really see a good, full, strong season of Mackenzie Blackwood on top of us being a disaster of a team at the time. If he can stay healthy, he's got the ability to be really awesome, because there were a lot of times I was watching him going, holy crap, this kid, man, he's got it. He has got it.
He's played brilliantly for San Jose.
And he has that ability. And that's, I was really hoping that he was the next. I was hoping that he was finally our goalie solution. But
I think he truly has the opportunity to be a number one guy and a number one guy for the foreseeable future on a very good team.
I would love for him to just rip it up and do really well for Colorado.
I'm rooting for him. I love these goalies. I don't know what it is on these bad teams that just shine. And I think all of last season, Blackwood was San Jose's best player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now they got Celebrini over there, and some of the younger guys are coming in and doing pretty well. But San Jose had to. I don't even think it's necessarily a bad decision by San Jose, because they gotta give Askarov the reins. I mean, Vanacek is, he's whatever, and then they send over Georgiev. I don't have any idea what they plan to do with the two of them, but I can't, in all seriousness, think that San Jose is just going to be like, okay, we have Georgiev and Vanacek, and we're going to ride these guys, and we'll bring up Askarov if any of them get hurt. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Askarov needs to get his chance. He's got to get his chance.
And he came up and he played well. Actually, now that you're saying it, I think Blackwood was hurt, and he came up and played because he was hurt. But with Blackwood, the volume, like just so much volume and so much usage, you're going to get those injuries. But also at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see, because I do think he has the ability to really take over as a number one and establish himself as a real bona fide number one. But at the same time, shot volume is going to go down, so you're going to have less shots, but potentially higher grade A shots. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Colorado just went through it at the three goalies they've used this season already, right? There's Noonan, Georgiev, and they brought up somebody else as well?
Noonan, Georgiev, and I forgot the other guy's name. But the Colorado Avalanche have an 85.5% team save percentage. The last time a team had a save percentage that bad in a full season was the 10-70 Ottawa Senators in 92-93. But that just shows you how good their offense is.
Is that back Damien Rhodes?
I think so. But that just shows you how good their offense is, that they are that bad and they're still in playoff contention.
Yeah. I mean, they have not had – I mean, they've had some lapses defensively, but, like, literally the goalie is just – and Shorts guy, you got to make a save. One of these, you have to make a save. And no matter what team you're playing on, there's going to be grade A chances that come up. And if you can make make that save, that big save here, you have a lapse, so you let up a breakaway. It's okay to make a save. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's like what I don't think is not okay is to continuously blame the team around you. They shouldn't have given up that chance. That chance, they're always going to happen. They're always going to be in games, and the goalie's got to be there. And I'm not putting it solely on the goalie's shoulders, but there's got to be some of these times where you got to make a save for your team.
I think we were scratching our heads when Colorado signed Georgiev for what they did off of the Rangers bench. We're like, what the hell is this? And it's like, well, the Avalanche were at the time good enough to win with him as their goalie, but he was not going to be. We all knew he was not going to be what was going to help them.
I think they
forward,
probably thought a little bit too little of Darcy Kemper. To be honest with you, like. I know that he didn't have great statistics or anything, or nothing that's popping out. But so I think what their thing was we can get Georgiev for cheaper. So let's bring in this guy, because all we need is a pretty good goalie. We don't need anything more than that.
All right, let's.
Unfortunately, we've seen teams win cups with just a pretty good goalie recently.
Yeah.
And that's why that mindset has gone out there.
All right,
they're
we're just
pretty
gonna.
good goalies on a tear, right? They go on
I
a
wanna
tear
get
and they
you guys-
win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine. Keep going. I'm just.
Now I want to get you guys' opinions on a couple of things. All right, so
Yes.
the Bruins. This was a fun stat. They have fired 3 consecutive Jack Adams winners, who have all been scooped up within 8 days of being fired. You had Claude Julien, who was fired by the Bruins, and then 7 days later he was picked up by Montreal. You had Bruce Cassidy. 8 days later, he was hired, obviously, by Vegas, and then finally Jim Montgomery 5 days afterwards, hired by St. Louis, which
Goes back home.
Pretty interesting. Yeah,
He's done well with him.
he has. The Biz Nasty stuff with the fight where he basically beat the crap out of 6 guys. Did you see the mugshots for all these guys quickly?
I thought I saw something and it looked like it was from like the 1940s or something like that.
They all look like they should be like mugshots from the 40s, like gangsters, like those horrible old Italian gangsters. And Biz just beat the living daylights, which is very funny. So, good job, Biz. Steven, this hurts you a little bit, but the Bruins have only 1 third-period goal at TD Bank Garden this season, and that's followed by the Chicago Blackhawks, who have only had 3 third-period goals at home, and then the Pittsburgh Penguins 6 third-period goals at home.
I'm surprised it's that many. You know, there's
really?
whole lot more.
You thought it would have been worse?
A whole lot more than that's against them because they are. If blowing leads is a Stanley Cup victory, I think they'd be surpassing Montreal.
You guys would be number 1. Yeah.
Just finding new ways to lose.
Yeah,
they're doing better though.
They have
5-1 the last 6.
I was to say
the one hiccup. That Ranger game was horrendous on both ends. Both teams were atrocious.
Yeah, it was basically it was like a contest of who wanted to lose more.
Yeah, we definitely were trying. Yeah, just horrible. We've been so freaking bad.
I've loved it. That's why I'm wearing the shirt.
All right, we had a couple other things. 4 Nations tournament, which I wanted to get some immediate opinions and then also discuss with you guys what you kind of thought might be snubs. So here are the rosters. I'll go quickly through a couple of these. Sweden, Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg, Gustav Nyquist, Jesper Bratt, Carlson, Elias Pettersson, Leo Carlson, Adrian Kempe, Lucas Raymond, Joel Eriksson Ek, Elias Lindholm, Mika Zibanejad, William Nylander. Obviously, defense, Rasmus Andersson, Brodin, Dahlin, Ekholm, Victor Hedman, Erik Karlsson, Gustav Forsling, and then our goalies, Gustafsson, Markstrom, and Ullmark. On top of that one, Finland, which I had, and now I cannot find because that's always the deal. Here we go. Granlund, Barkov, Rantanen, Lehkonen, Aho, Laine, Teravainen, Hintz, Kapokako, Eetu Luostarinen, Lundell, Haula, Armia. You have Heiskanen, Lindell, Olimata, Rasmus Ristolainen, Mikko Mikkola, Jussi Välimäki, Jani Hakanpää, and then you have Saros, Kevin Lankinen, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Canada, Bennett, Sorelli, Crosby, Hagel, Jarvis, Konechny, McKinnon, Marchand, Marner, McDavid, Point, Reinhart, Stone, Kelmakar, Morrissey, Parayko, Pietrangelo, Sanheim, Theodore, Devon Taves, and then you had Binnington, Aiden Hill, Montembeault, and then finally Team USA, who we will all be rooting for, although I will not root for Jack Hughes. No, I'm joking. I will be in this tournament, just for once. Boldy, Connor, Eichel, Gensel, Hughes, Kreider, Larkin, Matthews, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and then Vincent Trocheck, Faber, Fox, Hannafin, Hughes, McAvoy, Slavin, Werenski, and then you had Hellebuck, Ottinger, Swayman. So we kind of figured the goalies. So
Luke made? I didn't think Luke made it.
No, Quinn.
No, Luke
Quinn
didn't make
Hughes?
it.
Oh,
Quinn
Hughes. Quinn. Sorry.
Come on.
I wanted Luke to make it because I wanted to get a Luke Hughes jersey. I wanted to get.
All right. So, who do you think were the biggest snubs? And we can go, on down. But Canada, you had Evan Bouchard didn't make it. Zach Hyman, Scheifele, Nick Suzuki,
Shifley is big on
John
me.
Tavares.
Yeah.
Shifley, I think, is a big one. Who would you have rather had Shifley over?
Their reserve, somebody came up with like the snubs roster. Which
Yes,
of course,
I have it.
Okay, and it is. I think it's definitely a team that can compete with all of them. Yeah,
it should be Canada A and Canada B. They could
I have
definitely
it here.
do that.
Here's a Team Canada roster filled entirely with 4 Nation snubs. Connor Bedard, Matt Barzal, Zach Hyman, Duchesne, Shifley, Suzuki, Verhaeghe, Robert Thomas, Lafreniere, Tom Wilson, John Tavares, Steven Stamkos, Macklin Celebrini, Uyghur, Bouchard, Riley, Dougie Hamilton, Aaron Ekblad, Brandon Montour, Noah Dobson, Logan Thompson, Cam Talbot, and Stuart Skinner. That team could...
those goalies
until the goalies.
I mean, I think I'd rather have Talbot over... Wesley Shifley. I'd rather have Talbot over Montembeault, I think.
I mean, I'd take Fleury over Montembeault.
Yeah, true.
I wouldn't pick Skinner or Talbot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
U.S.
Really.
Tage Thompson didn't make it. Same thing with Cole Caulfield and Clayton Keller. I think that when I saw the list for USA, I think Brock Nelson's the one. I think Brock Nelson and Trocheck are interchangeable. And I think, obviously, I'm going to be the Rangers homer. I think that Trocheck is a better player. He's not having a great year, but he is a better player than Nelson. But I think if you would put Tage in for one of those two, I think that would have been a better roster addition. Than leaving Tage.
I think Tage in for Brock Nelson is better.
Yeah,
that would be my only replacement. I'm okay with the rest of the roster, honestly. Tage Thompson and Cole Caulfield offer nothing defensively.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Keller, same thing.
Keller, same thing. Yes, and I know that you still have to you have to think about penalty killing. I know that there's not that many games, right, in this tournament, and who knows how many penalties you're going to end up taking, but you still need a penalty kill crew, especially against, not to discredit Finland or Sweden, but especially against, you're going to have a loaded Canadian power play. So you got to have guys who, block shots, willing to block shots. I'm not just talking defensemen. You need the forwards too. And some of these guys, like I think Trocheck is. I think Trocheck, down season or not, I think he absolutely should be on this roster. I don't think there's any argument. You're not finding any argument for me. The only two I would potentially question would be Brock Nelson and Chris Kreider. But I like Kreider on this team. Net from presence on the power play, I think is great. Penalty killing, he's still got the speed. I'm fine with that. Brock Nelson is just like, okay, he's a utility guy. You can put him wherever you want to, and up and down the wings in the center. And he's a leader, but do you want that, or do you want some more goal scoring? I don't know that the U.S. really needs more goal scoring, to be completely honest with you, and especially at the expense of defense. But I would put Tage Thompson in there. Cole Caulfield, sorry, but I know he's having a great start to the season. All the goals that he's scoring, but I don't know. I wasn't planning on putting him on the roster prior to this, so I'm okay with him off.
I mean, your top line is going to be some form of Eichel, Connor, Matthew Tkachuk, Gensel, Matthews, and Jack Hughes, like as a top 6. That's lethal. You don't need any more scoring. Your third line is going to be Larkin, Boldy, and then probably a Brady Tkachuk. And then your fourth line, if you want to go defense, it's Trocheck, Kreider, and JT Miller. Like that's and those guys have kind of played together. They, that's a good checking line, if you want to call it a checking line, right?
What a shame about Jason Robertson too. Not to go on a tangent, but like
big snub.
I was like, I don't think that's a big snub because he's had consecutive seasons where he just doesn't look.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be there. He just flat out shouldn't be there. After 2 straight 40+ goal seasons, you think this kid's going to be like another Austin Matthews, and I don't know what's going on. It's not like he doesn't have the opportunity. His line mates are fantastic, so I think he's on the line with these Rupe Hintz and I don't know, Wyatt Johnson. Maybe I think he's
Wyatt
playing
Johnson.
with.
Yeah, Johnson. Yeah.
So it's not them. So I don't know why he's not scoring goals, but that would have been a good addition to this team.
On defense, you have Slavin Fox, which I absolutely love that pairing together. I think this would be really good. You have Brock Faber and either Werenski or Hannafin, and then you'll have Quinn Hughes with McAvoy, who, by the way, did you see McAvoy, basically manhandling Matvey Michkov? Where like you slashing him and just giving him business. I hate Charlie McAvoy. I don't know that there's a player I hate more now in the NHL than Charlie McAvoy.
I mean, they got the transition game there. They got the defense.
Yes.
That's Sullivan's system. He needs those guys that can carry the play and distribute the puck, and he's got that in spades. As guys that can just flat out play. So
Slavin obviously shut down, but Adam Fox moves the puck with just about as good as anybody else in the NHL. Werenski's having a great year. Hannafin is awesome. Quinn Hughes is.
Quinn Hughes breaks out the play better, just as good as anybody. I think just as good as Makar. He doesn't have the skill as Makar, but I think he breaks out just as good as Makar does.
Yeah, I'd move Faber up with Hughes so that you get like the defensive element with the offense to split it up, because I think McAvoy kind of does a lot of everything.
I think Hannafin's the dark horse there. I think Hannafin. I know there's some people who would have left him off, but I like Hannafin. Totally fine with Hannafin. I like him too, and I think it balances the system really well. And he's another guy who transitions very well. So
we don't need to talk about the goalies. Obviously, Hellebuck's going to start, or at least the lion's share with Ottinger's, kind of backing him up.
There's not that many
other
games,
snubs.
So
there's
not going to be a lot of chances for these goalies.
No. Connor Bedard, they're talking about him, but he's had a bad year. Same thing. Celebrini's young, but he'll probably be on somewhere later. Obviously, the U.S. chose more vets in Kreider. Canada, the goaltending, but who would you have really had?
We've talked about that. There's no one really out there.
No, not yet at least.
Yeah.
You guys, any other points you want to make about the Four Nations?
I think Rickard Rakell is definitely a snub. I think he should probably be there.
So Finland, right?
No, Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. Who would you have had him over?
I don't know. You'd have to go through the roster again, but I'm sure there's definitely one or two guys that.
Arvidsson?
Yeah.
Gustav Nyquist?
Yep. Nyquist, yeah. Like, speaking of no defense.
Yeah. I mean, really, there's obviously the locks. You have Forsberg, you have Jesper Bratt, you have William Karlsson, Pettersson, you have Kempe, Raymond.
I don't think William Karlsson's a lock either.
I think he is. For what he can do on defense, he's basically going to be their third-line center, and that's
they all
really
can.
Good third-line center.
They all can. All of Sweden.
Swedes, yeah. Eric Sinek, I love that guy. Lindholm, he might have been someone you could put him over, I guess. Even Mika, but they're going to want his offense.
Do you know who the oldest player in the tournament is?
Oldest player in the tournament. Is it Sid?
Sid the Kid.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say.
Sid the not so kid.
It was a trick question. I thought it might have been a trick question at first. I was looking at it. I was like, wait, no.
That is a great commercial. That is a great commercial with him, with all the younger guys. And he's just like,
oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And he just looks old now. But then again, he's younger than us. So it's like, how can we can't call him old because he's younger than us.
Look at Ovechkin. Ovechkin looks like
oh my gosh.
Ovi looks like, weathered, and he's been playing for the last 4 centuries.
He looks like he hasn't left the dive bar stool in about 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Tom Wilson getting hit with the puck.
Uh-oh.
Puck in his cheek.
Uh-oh. Hey,
there could not be.
Say that again. I didn't hear you. Somebody's
Tom Wilson, and then
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson's after you. That's why your internet froze.
Yeah, really. Him getting hit in the cheek and looking like that, I think I would not have another player I would want to get hit more in the face and look like a Badger than him.
I did not see it.
No.
That was great. You got to take a look.
Ranger fans, their hate for Tom Wilson.
Martin St. Louis, well, he's just a dick in general. I don't really care so much about the ragdolling Panarin thing. Like, whatever. He's just an ass. Marty St. Louis, the Canadians, on 12-3, it was the first time he had a full lineup, no injured players, since he took the head coaching job in Montreal. He hadn't had the full lineup in 225 games played. I mean, not that Montreal's full lineup is actually.
They don't have much of a full lineup, but they still beat Storm and Toothless combined.
Yeah, true. So You guys got anything else? Oh, the Flames honoring Johnny Gaudreau. I
Mhm.
don't know if you guys saw the video. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't get a chance to watch it because I just didn't have the.
Obviously, Monahan was there with Columbus, and so him and his old teammates got to drop the puck and tribute to the family. But hopefully, this is the start of healing some wounds. I know it's always going to be open, but
Yeah.
them getting some peace and quiet while they kind of grieve as a family. Yeah, I mean, unless you guys got anything else, Four Nations tournament was the big one. Obviously, a couple of trades. Oh, there were one other trade. You had David Yurchak going to Minnesota for a first and a big prospect and a couple other things.
That's a big package.
Yeah,
That's surprising. I did not think
Minnesota,
it was going to take that much to get Yurchak.
Minnesota likes
Columbus wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, I thought it would have been taking less, but
he's had a very modest start to his NHL career. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna play the rest of that, but who knows? You got anything else?
I was gonna say something. I don't remember.
Oh, Luke Richardson getting fired from Chicago. Anders Sorensen is going to make his debut at HL Rockford. He's the fourth European head coach in NHL history. What was that, Steve? Sorry.
Coaching now, I'm assuming.
Yep.
The Rangers.
Yeah, he's coaching
against
now.
the Rangers.
Yep.
Good.
Richardson was 57, 118, and 15 record with the Chicago Blackhawks. He has a 3-year contract.
Oh, the one thing I did want to ask: the Four Nations, it's strictly an NHL run tournament, not IIHF, right?
Nope, NHL.
Yeah, but they may be going IIHF rules, however.
Yeah, I saw something like that.
So the only reason why I ask is I'm aware and in support of the Russian ban from these tournaments, but it's an NHL. It's an NHL tournament, not an IIHF tournament. So the
they
Federation of Russia,
like
how much? So the countries don't have anything to do with the players that are representing the country. The country doesn't actually have any tie because it's not a kind of international tournament.
Correct.
It's kind of an all-star. It's like an all-star game, but broken up into countries.
Yes.
Right? Am I understanding this correctly?
Correct.
So would you consider Russia for this
I think that they are respecting the IHF and Olympic rules in this regard for this tournament.
Wonder if you could have done like an NHL.
I would have liked this to be an 8-team tournament. That would have been awesome if you had Germany and you had Czechia and Slovakia, and then you put Russia as that 8th team.
I'm curious why there's no Czechia team because
they had 4 teams, and I guess
this is kind of experimental too, right?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
So
I mean, I've heard guys say that they want to make this every year, do a Canada USA game, at least one, or do like a little mini tournament, 3-game set or something like they used to do.
Yeah, I mean that would leave out a lot of players, so you got to figure.
Well, no, you just do it as like the women do their annual Canada US game.
Okay.
Like just
after
do it
a while, though, it just gets. I mean, it would be fun, but after a while,
it's bragging rights for a year.
It is, but after a while, it's kind of like the USA Mexico games. Unless there's anything on the line for real, like it just becomes.
Yeah, and also you get with men, and I'm not disparaging women. I love the fact that the sport is growing so much, but with the men, I mean, you're gonna have guys that are just like, no, I don't feel like playing.
I'm gonna go on vacation.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the line for it, so they're not going to want to do it, and it's just going to, just become like a friendly, like USA Mexico. When you have your full lineup in soccer, it's huge, but when it's not going for anything,
they do the World Juniors, and when the US plays Canada, it's always a big game.
But that's a tournament that has something on the line.
Well, do the same thing with the US, Canada,
and revolving players too. I mean, you age out of it too.
Yeah,
so like
North America Cup,
like
I don't know.
So you could have a guy, Sidney Crosby playing 20 seasons, play 20 of these games. He's not going to do it. It's just going to be players that just like.
If it's not meaningful, they're not going to do it.
Yeah,
the World Juniors is meaningful.
I'm with you on that. I think the idea sounds interesting, but I'm not for it.
I mean,
I think it would get stale real quick.
even in soccer, the Gold Cup is like every other year, and it's kind of like meh. U.S.
I
won
don't
it
even know
again.
like that.
U.S.
And then
won
they
it
had the
again.
Confederation Cup, right? Now they have two of them.
It's making up all these different cup tournaments because they want to capture some lightning in a bottle when there's been a cup tournament in this country for over 115 years, and they just push it to the side. I mean, look at what the NBA is doing with their NBA Cup. They're trying to make this a whole big groundbreaking thing. It's like, go look what happens in Europe. There've been, even South America. There's been cup tournaments in soccer in South America for over 100 years. There's been the U.S. Open Cup in this country since the early 1900s. Now the NBA is doing it, and they're trying to make it like this. It's this big thing. It's like, who cares? No one in the NBA that's on any of those teams care about this stupid, brand new, made up tournament.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, I was very happy.
I would love to see a legitimate tournament. It would be tough though because all the teams are affiliated with NHL teams. But you have a full tournament that's ECHL on up. Playing, you have an ECHL bracket, then they play an AHL bracket, and then AHL teams play NHL teams, and you actually have like a legitimate cup competition like that. Which is, it's hard with the affiliated teams though. Like you would have to have some kind of rules about signed players can't play against your home, your actual club, because those matchups are gonna happen. But that's what they do in England. You can have a Sunday league team or a non-league team make their way up to play Liverpool and Anfield. You got these guys that have 9 to 5s, then they go play a game at Anfield because their team has won. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah,
but there's probably no money in it, so why do it?
I did like that John Carlson did not make Team USA. By the way, we talked about Hannafin. I didn't think that Carlson deserved it, but and then I did talk about Juan Soto, and this was really the point I want to make. So he makes $765 million. There were 7 contracts in NHL history over $100 million, and they still have not combined to make more than 765, which is very sad. But
well, we're gonna see what Mets tickets look like this year. It's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be all over the place now. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, gents. Let's get your beers.
Can you hear 375 for me.
Music?
375. I don't know whenever I give Celebration a 5. I guess 5. I love Celebration. I'm also a terrible beer rater because I drink the same stuff.
Okay. It's as much as you enjoy it. It's not how much you think the world.
I give it a 5. I give it a 5 because I love Celebration.
Man, the music says it's playing, but nothing's actually happening.
But it's not. Steven will give some vocals, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, this is really weird because it's just not showing. We're choosing to show. All right, well, I'm going to try to do this just raw. Yeah, all right, so I'll give my sour apple 4-5. It's very good.
All right. Are you still losing?
Someone just score.
I hope so.
Bertuzzi just scored 3-1.
I hope so.
Tyler Bertuzzi scores. Was that an old goal? No, that's a new goal, I think. I can't tell.
All right.
Oh, you're on. What's it on? Oh, it's on NHL Network, or is it blacked out on NHL Network? Yeah.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe that was an old goal. Oh no, it's 2-1. All right, they were showing a Bertuzzi goal.
Yeah, Bertuzzi scored first. Bertuzzi from Taylor Hall, and then Taylor Hall from Bedard.
Schwim would take it home normally, but he sucks at his job of being here on podcasts, so I will just try to end this as we...
Silence. Great.